Stop me if you've heard this one before. You're bored. You reach for your phone. You scroll on said phone. Doom encompasses your body, cocooning you. Years pass. Unable to escape, you continue scrolling. Eventually, your mummified body disintegrates. The sun explodes. Darkness.
So yeah, that's one option. Let me give you 100 more.
In this video, I am going to open your eyes to the possibilities and show you 100 niche Fantasy-Core hobbies that you can try in 2026. Whether you are a diehard fantasy fan or have never even seen the Lord of the Rings extended edition, this video has ideas for you. We're going to cover categories from hobbit to human, from druid to bard, and everything in between. So let's make 2026 a year of saying yes to possibility, of trying new things, of expanding our horizons, and let's dive in. Section 1. Hobbits. Cozy hearthcraft hobbies. Horticulture is the art and science of growing and cultivating plants. You could start as small as just a few houseplants, or transform your entire yard into an incredible botanical garden. Beekeeping. Beekeeping is fascinating. Look into local classes and start researching how you can get started. Brewing, mead, beer, etc. Of course, make sure that you are doing this properly and safely. Soap making, a little bit of science and chemistry, but also a little bit of creativity and artistry. Number 5 is gardening. Grow some beautiful flowers, grow some vegetables, some squash to get you through the winter. Idea number 6 is pottery. And no, you don't need to own a kiln, etc. Look into your local pottery studio. They probably have classes or open hours when you can come and use the studio kiln and supplies. Number 7 is candle making, and with a few cool molds and some interesting fragrances, colors, etc., you can have a lot of fun with this. Idea number 8 is to try your hand at medieval or fantasy-inspired cooking and learn some interesting recipes. Idea number 9, similarly, is to make sourdough bread. Now, this is a whole art form. Managing the starter, making the bread. Continuing on the food theme is cheese making and or yogurt making. Make your own handmade paper. This is a really great way to recycle old paper products and create something beautiful and unique. Canning, so that when you grow that vegetable garden, you can do something with all of those many tomatoes that you've grown. And our last hobbit idea is number 13, furniture making. Now, if you never took woodshop or anything like that, it might feel like that is completely out of the realm of possibility, but I assure you, it is not. See if you can find a local class to get you started. All right, let's move a little deeper below ground from the hobbit holes to dwarven tunnels. And let's explore some dwarven-inspired hobbies. If you are someone who loves to create with your hands, this section is for you. Bladesmithing. I did not really consider that forging swords was a thing that people could just do until I met someone who did in their garage. And well, I don't necessarily recommend that because it didn't win them any points with the neighbors. Bladesmithing is indeed an art that you can try out in 2026. Idea number 15 is to learn the lost wax casting method of creating jewelry. This is a fascinating and beautiful process where you can create intricate, incredible metal designs by using wax to create molds. Metal clay. Metal clay is basically a clay that you fire into hard metal objects. So you can sculpt it into the design of your choosing and then fire it and it turns hard. Armor smithing. This one is one you might need a little more resources for. You might need to go to a local class to get started. Idea number 18 is a little bit more accessible, but you're still making armor. And that is to weave your own chainmail pieces. Learn the art of gilding and working with gold leaf. This is where you add very thin layers of gold gold over top of a surface, stained glass making. This is also a really interesting artisanal process. You create the design, you cut the glass pieces, you solder the metal pieces together, and you may be able to find classes near you to get started. Idea number 21, horn carving. Like Viking horns, carving animal horns into drinking vessels, decorative objects, etc. Also on the carving theme, but a little cheaper material, wood carving. It's basically free and you can just make things and learn proper knife safety before you start carving anything. Jewelry making. I made the earrings that I'm wearing. Depending on what materials you're using, what style of jewelry you're making, will change how accessible this is, how much it costs, what kind of classes you might need, lino cut, and or block printing. You can customize your clothes, but you can also create just like art prints. You know those beautiful glass lamps that are like mosaics? Those are Turkish lamps, and you can probably find workshops near you to get started learning how to make those yourself. And then our last dwarf core hobby is clockmaking. You can get started with some little kits, you can learn online, you can look for classes locally, and create your own interesting clocks. Now we're going to take a little bit of a sidestep and we're going to explore some human hobbies. So when I was creating this category, I was thinking of what are some fantasy hobbies where we are actively engaging in fantasy. So that's what my human category is all about. Connecting with other people, engaging with imagination, and dreaming about fantasy worlds, of course. All right, so first up we have the LARP. It is essentially playing pretend, but as a grown-up, and you have to pay money to be there. Join the Society for Creative Anachronism. I mentioned this in my 100 Fantasy Things to Do video and got so many cool comments about people explaining how amazing this group is. Essentially, the Society for Creative Anachronism is like a group of people getting together and doing all these kinds of hobbies and learning lost arts and engaging in historical reenactment, etc. Play tabletop RPGs such as Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, etc. And if you're someone who doesn't really think of yourself as like a D&D person, there's so many different kinds of D&D, different campaigns. There's Star Wars tabletop RPGs, there's freaking My Little Pony RPGs, like it covers the whole spectrum of imagination. Idea number 29 is a very obvious one if you're into fantasy core, and that is to play fantasy video games. And idea 30 is to engage in fantasy world building, which is where you basically create your own fantasy world, even if you're not necessarily going to write a novel about it or play a D&D game, but you just enjoy world building and do it for its own sake. Take up Warhammer / tabletop miniatures. This is a really cool hobby because it not only involves, the game itself, but you also have the craft of painting the little miniatures. And if you're someone who thinks, oh yeah, that's for dudes, may I introduce you to the concept of bedazzled Warhammer, because that's been popping up on my Instagram feed lately and I love it. Another big one, if you're in the fantasy space, is to cosplay. This is a great way to make friends in the fantasy community, to connect with other people who love fantastical things. And it's also a really interesting craft to learn how to sew or build props, build armor. There's many, many different kinds of cosplay. Our last one for the humans section is to create fantasy dioramas, to make little physical tiny worlds that are fantasy inspired. And next up, we're going to talk about elven inspired hobbies, which is basically my clothing crafting category. So if you're interested in fashion and clothes, this section is for you. Learn historical sewing. If you're into history and handicrafts, you can recreate historical garments using the actual techniques that would have been been used to create them, costuming, whether you are working with a local theater company, whether you're just doing it for yourself, for your friends, for going to events like Ren Fair, etc. Learn embroidery. This is a beautiful way of adding interest to your clothing. Shoemaking. Yes, you heard me right. You can make your own shoes. Corsetry. This is the art of creating custom undergarments or, corsets that you wear externally. They are supporting the body. They have to fit very well. Millinery, which is the art of creating or decorating hats. Idea number 41, beadwork, which is adding beautiful beading designs to other fabric pieces like clothing, boots, etc. Cross stitch, which is similar to embroidery, but it's a slightly different technique. It's very simple and beginner friendly to learn. If you are someone who loves intricacy, who loves crafting things with your hands, try tatting or lace making. Idea number 44 is needle felting, which is a really interesting medium. You can create little sculptures, learn spinning, which is creating your own yarn or thread if you need something to do with all that yarn you just made. Knitting and crochet. These are two different fiber arts, but both are very, very cool, and you can create some incredible, beautiful pieces that are wearable art or just cute little crocheted plushies, that kind of thing. And our last for the elven category is idea number 47, rug tufting. Yes, you can create your own rugs using punch needle or tufting kits. And that's it for the elves. Let's move on now. We're talking a little bit magical, a little bit intellectual, a little bit esoteric. We're talking wizard core. Idea number 48 is to learn to create illuminated manuscripts. Parchment making. This is a bit of a lost art. Moving right along on the bookish thread, we have book binding. Create beautiful handcrafted books, or you can rebind books to create your own covers for them. Idea number 51, we are over halfway through now. Calligraphy. Learn astronomy and star charting to learn how to navigate using the stars, track the movements of the stars, the cycles of the moon, etc. Heraldry design. Learning all the symbolism behind heraldic crests, etc. Learn how to create your own heraldic designs. Learn historical or fantasy languages like Old English or Old Norse, or to learn a cultural language that is relevant to your family history, or learn in a fantasy language like Elvish, or Klingon if you're a Trekkie like me. Qapla'. Genealogy. Study your roots, who you came from. Learn all the history and the stories of the lives lived along the way. Cartography, which is map making. Explore your local area and create your own maps. It would be also fun to put to use making fantasy maps for imaginary locations. Idea number 57 is to master the game of chess. Study mythology and folklore. Study cosmology, which is basically the science of the origin of the universe. I don't know if it gets more wizard core than that. Idea number 60 is going to prove me wrong. Study quantum physics. Quantum physics is like studying the fundamentals of reality, and it gets weird. Study history, medieval history in particular, or ancient history. And finally, for our wizard core section, we have idea 62, which is board game design. Create your own game. Moving along from the realm of the mind and the intellect, let's head to fighter core. Fighter core hobbies are all about strength, agility, and whacking things with sticks. Idea number 63, historical European martial arts, which is basically sword fighting, but using traditional historical techniques. If you're interested in learning sword fighting, but more as a sport or game than a actual combat technique, try checking out fencing. Take up Jousting. Okay, this is a bit of a bigger commitment, like you need a horse and a lot of training, but those Ren Fair jousters, they have to get started somewhere. 66 is to learn the quarterstaff, or the staff, where you use long wooden poles to whack each other. It looks fun. Throw knives. Honestly, extremely fun. You might be able to find a local throwing knife or axe throwing, I don't even know what you call them, club? They're not really clubs, where you can get a trainer to show you how to do it and then just go and have a good time throwing sharp objects. Obstacle course slash like ninja training, where you basically run obstacle courses as a form of fitness. Any martial art such as kickboxing, jujitsu, karate, etc. Moving on from the fighter class to something a little more peaceful, let's look at some hobbies that fall under the bardcore category. All about theatrics, performance, acrobatics, music, drama, Gregorian chanting slash choral singing. See if there is a local choir singing group near you that you can join. Courtly slash medieval dances. This is something you would be likely to find at the Society for Creative Anachronism, but you could also see if there are any local classes in your area or study tutorials online. Take ballet classes. Ballet started as a courtly dance and has evolved into what it is now over many centuries. And as someone who used to teach beginner ballet classes to adults, I must say there is something incredibly beautiful and wonderful about seeing adults who wanted to take ballet their whole life actually take their first class. You are never too old to take a ballet class. Take an aerial silks class or a circus arts class. You will get your workout in, I promise you, and it is very, very fun. Learn the art of fire performance or fire dancing. Please
Exercise the utmost caution.
do only with the supervision of professionals. Learn a medieval instrument such as a harp, a lute, a mandolin. See if you can take local lessons, or if not, there are many, many tutorials online for learning different musical instruments. Learn to create your own bardcore fantasy medieval music arrangements. Get involved with a local theater group or take theater or improv classes. Idea number 78 is to take diving classes and learn how to dive. And finally for this section, learn clowning. No, it's not just putting on a costume and looking silly. It is a whole art form and it's very, very fascinating. Moving away from the performing arts and out into the wide woods of the Druids, let's look into Druidcore hobbies. The Druidcore category is all about exploring the natural world, engaging with nature. Take up plein air painting, where you bring all your painting supplies with you, you go outside and you paint on location. Nature photography is a great way to connect with nature and explore nature through a different lens. Take up falconry. This is probably something that will require a lot of training and licensing. Grow your own crystals at home. Rock polishing, get yourself a rock tumbler, go out and collect pretty rocks and start polishing rocks and creating your own collection. Idea number 85, foraging, going out into nature and gathering foods that you can eat carefully because you don't want to eat anything poisonous and you want to forage in a way that is respectful of your environment, etc. Learn the art of taxidermy. Personally, I don't think I would enjoy this. I don't think I would. But if you are interested in taxidermy, it is a thing that you can do. Learn herbology, studying plants to use as medicine. Become an amateur naturalist, which is essentially going out into nature and recording your observations, learning about the animals and the ecosystems and the plants, etc. around you. And finally, for this section, learn to dye fabrics using plants, stamping fabric with flowers, or dyeing a shirt with onion skins. The final section is Ranger Core. Ranger Core hobbies, very adventurous, very outdoorsy, very Aragorn, you know what I mean. Idea number 90, we have learning to scout/track. Being able to observe your surroundings out in nature, read the landscape, learn to track animals. Leathercraft, working with leather to create book covers, to create clothing items, to create pouches, purses, shoes, etc., etc. Gymnastics/tumbling. See if there is a beginner class at your local gymnastics club. Prepare yourself to scale some castle walls and learn bouldering. This is a great workout whether you are bouldering indoors or outdoors in the wild. Please make sure that you do so safely though. Master the craft of fire starting. Again, please don't burn yourself. Learning to actually successfully and properly make a fire is really important for any kind of survival situation. Idea number 95 is, of course, if we're talking about rangers, archery. Requires a lot of skill, a lot of precision, and it's very challenging, but very fun. Number 96 is mounted archery. So once you've got a little experience with a bow and arrows, see if you have any local clubs that offer mounted archery lessons. Number 97 is to go backpacking. Roughing it in the wild, exploring nature. Idea number 98, horse riding. Something that every little girl dreams of. Perhaps not every little girl, but many little girls. And then you become an adult and you realize how expensive horses are. But see if there's a local equestrian club where you can take lessons just to get started. Idea 99 for our ranger skills is to learn the art of fishing. Number 100, our final idea is to go geocaching. You go hunting for hidden caches that have little things inside them, and then you replace the cache when you find it. So it's like a treasure hunt. And that, my friend, is 100 niche Fantasy-Core hobbies. We've made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. This was a long list. I'm gonna go drink a bunch of water, but I had so much fun sharing these ideas with you. I know some of these ideas are much more accessible than others. So my hope is that even if, we can't all do everything in this list, that there is something that will excite you that you'll be able to try. My hope is that this 2026 is full of adventure, full of discovery and beauty and joy for you. This world is brimming with wonder. We just have to go out and find it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a gloriously creative rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.